help us really all understand the simplicity of the process. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And by the way, Hill, did you also put this in the other group, in the 8FM group?
Oh no, I'll do it now.
Just go put in there real quick if anybody wants to jump on. They're certainly able to.
Yeah.
Because it's been a rough week for that group with Lawrence. Lawrence lives in Houston, so he was not going to have to evacuate playing Mahjong to wait out the storm, and then went from a no evacuation to a voluntary evacuation to a mandatory evacuation to the neighborhood being cut off because there was lots of water. I saw a video earlier today that he was actually able to go back to the neighborhood by driving on the sidewalks because there was a foot of water in the streets, but had not really damaged the houses. And it seems to be receding, although they are expecting more rain tonight. So who knows? But it has been, Hill, we can see you from the nose down, so you may want to adjust your camera. There you go. We absolutely have never seen anything like this in the history of the world.
Yeah, no.
In the history of the world. And it's been
so bad.
Ever seen. So it has been certainly a week where ketones have been giving us all a lot of energy, but I don't know if in the state of Texas the last 4 or 5 days, if anybody's really been able to heavily focus on business. We've been collecting clothes and buying diapers and running U-Hauls, all over the state that are going in. And I think that next week, real work is going to start once the waters recede. I've been on the phone with that like all day, on and off for the last couple of days. Well, while we're waiting for whoever else is joining, we can go ahead and get started, and they will go ahead and catch up on the replay. All right, weekly Zoom. We are at month end. And month end is where you do a lot of things. I mean, I don't really talk about the comp plan much here at Prove It, which I love because it's a very gamified program. If we're getting some feedback from somebody, or if you can go ahead and mute everybody, and then they can unmute themselves except for me if they need to. But what is really driving this program so effectively is a very simple process. Marrying Curtis always says to marry the process, divorce the result. I wholeheartedly agree with that. There is no business that is for everybody. There is no product that is for everybody. And when people understand that, and they understand that our job is nothing more than we're in the choosing business. And all we do on a daily basis is go out and through a sequential acceptance process, see who chooses to do what, sort of in a stair-step methodology. And one of the things I want to talk to you about as we go to the end of the month is a lot of people confuse process and system. Human nature doesn't change, tactics too. And process is what you're doing. And in Prove It's case, the process would be ask a question, connect somebody to a resource, get them an experience, and let them decide where they want to proceed from there. That's the process. A system is how you deploy the process. And the system right now is ask the question, what do you know about ketones or ketosis? Somebody says nothing, everything, all there is to know, not at all, no idea. It really doesn't matter, because the next step is if I send you a video, will you watch it? It's about 4.5 minutes. And people can either say yes or no. And again, doesn't matter which, they choose. And the more, if you want your process to go better, if you want better, the more we want to improve your results, all we do is go back and always try to perfect the process. For example, I've been going slow to go fast over 7 weeks. One of the first challenges we found in that process was some people heard if I ask you to watch, if I send you a video, will you watch it? What they got out of that was, I'm going to send you a video to watch. Two vastly different statements. One is asking somebody and offering them a choice. If I send you a video, will you watch it? And the other is telling somebody, I'm going to send you a video to watch. Where you never ask them if they're willing to do it or not. And you never really set so you really have never made an agreement or given them a choice to opt out of doing it. You're just making an assumption and sort of putting them in a position. So That's the first step. People watch the video, and what we know, if you take a large section of numbers, is that most people, without heavily influencing the process, will then say something along the lines of, I really want to try that product. Or tell me about your experience with the product. And then we say, okay, the best way that we know how to do that is to connect people to an experience. And most people do that through a 5-day experience, which is kind of a taste test, because we have a lot of different flavors and slightly different versions of the product, although they're all pretty much the same in terms of what they do. Most people opt for a 10-day because that gives you a longer basis to really see what kind of results you'll get with the product, except for a lot of athletes and gym rats. They seem to go directly to a 15, 20-day or 30-day experience. They seem to want to go to 3 weeks to a month. Now, we didn't know that in the beginning, but this is what we're finding after 7 weeks. And we had heard that from Dawn and from a lot of other people. But, you know, Prove It's not a weight loss company. It's not a weight loss product. It's a lifestyle change. A lot of people try to pigeonhole it as a weight loss company, a weight loss product or a weight loss company, but it isn't. And you know, and athletes, I don't know what this is. I'd like to tell you that I'm an athlete, guys, and I'm not. I like to think I'm not a couch potato either, but I am not a gym rat. But athletes seem to, A, not care what something tastes like, which is how Prove It got started, with a product that worked very effectively, and in my opinion, didn't taste really good. They have really improved the taste and improved the taste to now they have products that taste absolutely dreamy. Although, again, don't prejudge. I think Orange Dream could kill you. My husband thinks it tastes like a dreamsicle. So it's always a good idea to let people make their own choices because, you know, who knows. But athletes seem to feel like 3 weeks to a month is the perfect test. So find a lot of them just elect to go straight to the company and sign up as a customer in that right away. In that process, when people do, we always tell them, you know, sign it. You have an option today, Smart Ship, or today in Smart Ship. Go ahead and sign up for the Smart Ship. You can cancel it at any time, but it gives you a 10% discount that you get with today's order. But what we know is even if people do a 5 or 10-day experience, that about 50 to 60% of them, depending on the level of follow-up, will convert to become a Smart Ship customer. Now, I bring that up because the product is so good. And some people are so effective, especially working online or because they'll go out and talk to anybody, that we had people that literally weren't following up at all. And their numbers were still great, though. They had higher customer numbers than a lot of other people. And they didn't think to follow up till they were on one of these calls and they heard other people talking about following up. But at the end of the day, nothing replaces customer service because, again, a system is how you deploy a process. Now, you can have a process that just gets lots of 10-day experiences out. One of the best things about the Prove It process and about this product is that it is sustainable. It is a sustainable process. So many companies, you know, sample out their product, and a lot of people can afford to do that. It doesn't work well in a duplicable system because if it doesn't work for a single mom, if it doesn't work for Aunt Betty in Idaho, if it doesn't work for a college student, there will come a point in time where it doesn't work at all. And if you are a somewhat more affluent person with a different attitude, you may never recruit that person. You may never see that that is a challenge. But eventually it will get to somebody where it is because they will sample out their product. They will get some customers. They'll sign up a few people. But by the time that experience pack is gone, they will not have enough money back in income to replace it. And if they don't have product, they have no product, they have no sustainable business, they have no business to continue because they can't afford to invest any more money. On the flip side, we have people on this very call who had really loved the product, started with a 5 or 10-day experience, couldn't afford an experience pack at day 1, but they said, you know what, most people buy and sell. Ideally, if you can do that, it's what you should do. You will turn the product faster. You will have it in your hands faster to fulfill your experiences. And it demonstrates a level of belief. But if someone doesn't have the money, then they can go ahead and they can pre-sell with people that know them. And then they can take the money and they can turn around and they can buy the experience pack and fill the orders. We have a gentleman down in Australia. He's, I think, on the call. And he did that in 2 days. Lisa Corber bought her experience pack. It's not there yet, but she's, she's pre-sold it. So she doesn't have it in hand. Within a day and a half, it's half gone. Heather, how many experience packs have you gone through? You have to unmute yourself, sweetie.
Oh.
No problem. I mean, how many have you gone through? Uh-huh.
I am working on my 5th right now.
Okay. So Heather started with, having to pre-sell her initial pack. She came out of another opportunity where she worked hard, learned a lot, wasn't really the right way for her to go, but had pretty much exhausted her resources trying to make that work. And so she started by initially signing up and buying enough product for herself to use because she knew she wanted to get on the product herself. Went and pre-sold her first experience pack, has been in the business, what now, 6 weeks? She's on her 5th experience pack, 5. So I want you to think about this when you're working a sustainable program like that, when she's married the process. Somebody tries the experience, she has a 5 or 10 day experience and they love it and it's good for them and they say they want to become a customer, great. If they say it's not for them, that's okay too, because they have given her enough money. We don't make money on the experience packs. We charge the cost that it costs us on the 5 and 10 day trial experiences, but she can replace that product immediately and, send it out again and send it out again and keep sending it out. So she's on her 5th experience pack. Whenever there's a sale, we have flash sales all the time. All the people that are doing this, they buy more product. They buy 20% more product because they can get more experience packs in the marketplace. And Heather was one of those people that had such extraordinary numbers that she had so many people calling her back that wanted to become customers or wanted to get more experience packs that she wasn't initially following up as much as she is now. But since she started, she's having a higher conversion rate of people that stay because nothing replaces customer service. I decided today that I hate Sprint. But after getting over my hatred of Sprint, I've decided that after we build our empires here, I'm going to go tell Sprint that they need me to let me work for them and fire all their customer service people, and I'm going to go train new ones because it was the most horrific experience that I've ever had. And I was ready to pick up all of my business and go to T-Mobile or AT&T or Verizon. The only problem is I've done that already. I started at Sprint, went to all of them, ended up back at Sprint because they all have horrible customer service people. But there's nothing that replaces relationship. So the more that we use technology, we use this system that we've used to deploy this process to have more time to do what only we can do, which is connect with people. And when you connect with people and you talk to people, you learn a lot. You find out a lot. And it enables you to, have a higher conversion rate because very often people's expectations were not set properly, either because they really were looking at it for weight loss or they didn't understand or they didn't really notice. They didn't know what they'd be looking for. And when you have the conversation, you ask them, well, how are you sleeping now? Oh, I am sleeping better. Well, what are you noticing as far as your mood or as far as your cravings? Oh, wow, I am. Or, I didn't realize that, so many people think that they need to be eating less when really they need to be eating differently. When the low fat thing is the thing that, I low fatted myself because I bought into it 10 years ago. I low fatted myself into a 10-pound weight gain because low fat is terrible for you. And for me, upping my fat, good fat, adding more avocados, more bacon to my diet, which I have to admit was a very tough thing because, adding all that extra bacon, I suffered through it though, because I was willing to do what was necessary to make this work. And, I started dropping weight. I'm down 11 pounds now and I've not dieted. And I will be drinking this product for the rest of my life. I love what it does for me. I sleep better. I feel better. I look better. My mental clarity is better. The people around me tell me I'm not as moody as I normally am. That's really a reflection on the fact that they are taking the product too and it's helping their mood because I was never as moody as they thought I was, truthfully. But we'll go with the fact that they thought I was. Back to where I digress. So you look at this, and she's not the only one, Heather, that's on her 5th experience pack. Lisa will be ordering her 2nd one by the time her product gets there. I think I'm going on my third or fourth. I don't know where Hillary is. Raymond, where are you? You pre-sold yours in what, like 2 days? So you are, you know, and you're about to order your second, and he's been in the business like a week. And that's what happens because people are focused on the process. Now, people will come in and when they say, well, how do you recruit? Same thing. I don't care if I'm talking to somebody about the business or because I don't prejudge for them. But if I call somebody and they ask what I'm doing, my next question is, what do you know about ketones and ketosis? I'm going to, if I send you a video, will you watch it? Because this company is not about a product per se. That is why it is working so effectively. I don't care if 20 other companies had this product. They won't have it. But if they did, it's not this product here and skincare over here and this over there, and those are all great products. This is about a conversation. This is about a very narrow focus about living life differently, about being better, about having better days, not about restrictive eating, not about temporary change and deprivation to go into some sort of a yo-yo cycle of temporary change for long-term results that never come. So when you understand that if you marry the process and you simply are asking the question, and if you can, and that if you want better results at this end, all you have to do is ask the question more often. That means more people see the video. That means more people, you know, get on an experience pack. That means more people become consistent users of the product. That means more people elect to convert. Cheryl Paul, one of our absolutely most effective customer gatherers, because this is really a giant customer acquisition machine. She in the past week, and it happened to all of us actually, Hillary, myself, and Cheryl, but Cheryl had two in the past week, each had a person who was a customer. Lisa was a customer who decided to convert to promoter. Cheryl Paul's had two. And people that have had an experience with the product that suddenly decided that they can go out and tell the story, they are some of the most effective people of all. So it doesn't matter what anybody does. So when you're deploying this process and you get to the end of the month, you start looking at it. Where is everybody? You don't have to look at the comp plan because the comp plan is so simple. It has all these things: go pro, go MVP, go all-star. We build an MVP factory because here's a couple of things. This is what I teach if you want to understand and maximize the plan. I believe everybody should have, if you're serious about the business, you want to start with an experience pack in your first 14 days. Why? There are benefits to an experience pack that you carry with you for a year. It will start you off at rank 5 for a year. You will make the most money for a year. I believe in leverage. Now, if somebody can't do it on day 1 and they hit their go button, you know, on day 5 because they have other people that are, you know, becoming customers, and they lose a few dollars, but on day 13 they're able to buy the experience pack and they are ranked 5 for the next year, so what? That's replaceable. You lost a few dollars. But I believe, but in the first 14 days, if they buy an experience pack, there's benefits that last a year. And if anybody's serious about the business, a year, that foundational year, make the most money you can make. I had somebody that was looking at starting with a family pack, and I asked him point blank, are you serious about the business? Because if you are, and that's all you can do today, don't do it at all. Let's go out and pre-sell. You know, or sign up, order the product you need for yourself, and let's go pre-sell however much the difference is between the family pack and the experience pack, and order the experience pack because of the benefits for you. Because if somebody doesn't want to be in the business, don't put them in it. Let them be a customer. And if they change their mind down the road, they can upgrade. And I now know that they can just go in and upgrade because that's what all these people did. Because you wanted to make it about them. It's not about you and the volume you need at this moment. It's about what is in their best interest. How are they going to have the greatest chance of success? And if they're serious about doing it, not you need them to do it today, but they're ready to do it today, they want to have the best chance of success. And anybody who's serious about doing it, getting to MVP in 30 days is a fairly simple thing to accomplish. Now, the Go Pro, you know, which is when they hit the Go Pro button, anytime in the first 14 days, but the company will make it go beforehand. We'll set it for you on the 14th day if you haven't done it yourself. Go Pro is important. It's a neat thing to hit, and it gives you some lifetime bonuses. It also pays you a $250 one-time bonus. I like people to hit it because we know human nature. These are measurable things to give people something to shoot for so they know what to do. Nobody needs to understand how a comp plan works as much as they think they do. I've looked at the piece of paper once because a comp plan, unless you're going to teach comp plan theory at MIT, tells you how you're going to make money on a large network of people that is 10 levels deep and thousands of people. When you start a business, there's you. And what people want to know is, what do I have to do to make money so that one day that big piece of paper that's so confusing when you try to explain it to me, I can get all of that, whatever that is. And what the system is, the process that they have systemized is designed to get people doing the actions that will get them there. So GoPro is the first milestone, because what we always want to look at in the stair step is people's first hour, their first day, their first 7 days, their first 14 days, and their first 30 days. That's the foundation of someone's network marketing career for most people. If you're a business person and a long-term business person, you don't care about 30 days. Most business people understand that most people are felled and set back in life because they overestimate what they can do in a year. They overestimate what they can do in a month. They underestimate what they can do in a year. And they spend their life trying to hit, 1 year home run, 5-year home runs in 1 year. And they repeat the same awful month or the same awful year over and over again in progressive 1-month stints. But for the average person, which none of you are, but which businesses are built in partnership with, those milestones are get people to go pro because they'll feel good. They're recognized. They get a reward. But if they miss it, it costs them $250 one time. MVP is super important because they can get any bonuses, lifetime bonuses that are missed with GoPro, come back and are solidified with MVP, and those are lifetime. So if someone is serious about this, with an experience pack in the first 14 days and hitting MVP in the first 30 days, there are benefits to their business, leverage that are created by hitting those milestones that last them for the length of their first year, which is so important, and the lifetime of their business that they are building. So I want to make that happen. And if you go through your back office, which is what somebody should be doing, not in their first hour, because that's when you're plugging them in, and maybe not in their first day, but certainly in their first 72, there are forms and processes to go along with all of these things to help people get it done, right? But you don't do it for people. But if somebody's serious, what do? Go pro, go MVP. And while we're doing that, help the people that helped us go pro and go MVP to do the same thing. And keep enrolling people and working them and working it in depth. Not just you doing a bunch of people, but you going down and finding the star. Because at any given time, you should have somebody at your hip that is wanting to do what you did and working with them so they can do it without you. Not accomplish the goal without you, but so they can become a GoPro maker and an MVP maker if you get hit by the bus tomorrow. Put 3 or 4 of those in depth in a leg, and you're irrelevant to that leg, and you can go start another one and double your income, start another one and double your income, start another one and double your income. And then you have a 60-day placement lounge. So that at the end of as those come to where they're running out, you can say, okay, I want to create synergy. I can put people with people to help those that are doing the work, to lessen my workload, to create more support for the new people that want to have success, to reward those that are doing the right things that can create more benefit for me and for that person, and create synergy, because you can literally get to the top with 2 groups. I would go with 3 just to give myself more flexibility. But there's enrollment tree and placement tree. You have to understand any of this. But the good news about it is anytime you enroll somebody, my theory is you work them through the process to MVP, or to see that they're not going to do it. Either way. And then you decide, is this somebody that's great working with me? Or if I bring somebody else on my team into the mix, is it going to create a better result for everybody involved? More time for me, more support for them, more volume and reward for everybody. And how do we make that work? So at the end of the month, you're going down not looking so much at what you need to get to the next rank, because it's all about rank advancement, but working from the bottom up. How can we all help people as far down as we can? Because as we work it up, it helps advance everybody. When you have a 20% off sale like now, we have a lot of customers. This company is very unique. They have a 35-to-1 customer ratio for every active distributor. And an active distributor would be a distributor that either is buying product themselves within the month or has a customer buying product in the month that has any activity on their enrollment line, customer or distributor ordering product. So think about that. That is insane. The auto ship number is high, but there are a lot of customers, the customers have the app too. If you don't know that, customers should all download the Prove It Pulse app as well. Customers have all the websites as well. Customers can get free product as well by referring to customers. And that's a process as well. Are they going to send out experience packs? Probably not. But they can refer them. They have the Experience Keto site. They can then refer their referral to their promoter, which is you, however many levels up. You get the experience pack out. You get paid for it, the process with your PayPal.me. And when that person wants to become a customer, you get them signed up underneath your customer. They do that twice, and their product's free. They're going to keep getting that auto ship. But what happens is when a customer sees a 20% off sale, they're like the rest of us. They know they're going to use the product. They may stop their auto ship that month and go buy 6 boxes because they know they're going to use the product, and they'll save some money and then get back on the auto ship later. So at any given time, people may go on and off auto ship, but when they look at it over a year and they divide how many boxes of product did this customer use in a year, enough to be using it every day, the retention rate on this product's astronomical. It's incredibly high. The retention rate on customers, about 47 to 52% after a year, but it's rolling because it's not like January to January. It's the length of life of the customer. But again, it's an estimate because of the flash sales that are available to everybody. So all we can say is, okay, this customer is on auto ship, saw a sale, maybe didn't get their auto ship this month because they bought a bunch of boxes. I have a customer who always gets his auto ship, but every time there's a sale, he goes and buys 3 boxes of a flavor he hasn't done. I don't know if he's having keto parties, taking 6 a day, and I don't think he's gone into business because he keeps having people call me that are his referrals. Hillary's got the same thing. She's got a customer, one of her customers, that we just can't figure out where all the product goes because he keeps doubling his order every 2 weeks. So it is really very, very high. But again, we're customer follow-up and having a relationship with your customer, making sure they're well taken care of, calling them when there's a sale, because some customers are very well plugged in, some are not. Some of them don't know. I think raspberry lemonade is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. Some customers don't even know that it exists. But getting on the phone with your customers and letting them know we have a new flavor and that right now, it's 20% off, although this sale is a little bit different, but at any given time, they don't have to buy it, but they may want to. They may want to change their auto ship to something that wasn't available so they can try it next month. But staying in touch with your customers is worthwhile because they pay you a lot of money. 20% of their product orders. What?
Right now, they just put on the keto cream is on sale till tomorrow.
I need to go order that because I missed the last one because I was taking care of everybody else. I've got some samples, but I want to get a bunch of that. And that's the other thing that's so cool about Prove It. It's not a volume requirement with customers. A customer is a customer. What is a requirement is unique household addresses, because they're really about customers. Now, you get paid on all your customers, but if you have 5 customers in the same house, you get paid on all 5 of them, but that's one unique household. So anything for qualification, if it says you need 10 unique households to get this particular bonus, that's 10 unique households. But this household may just buy cream. That may be a $50 or $60 customer. You could have a customer like Hillary, your biggest customer. How much does he order every time he calls you?
He orders like a 30-day supply for less than 2 weeks.
I was saying, but his last order was over like $400, right?
Yeah, for 2 weeks, and then he'll call
And then,
again and change his flavor.
so this, I mean, so he's spending $700 a month. I mean, you know, but he's an MMA guy. And some of these athletes, you know, they're taking 4 or 5 a day, and there's no reason that you can't. They want to get the exogenous ketones in their bloodstream to a level that you couldn't do with food if you tried. And they're not about losing weight. They're about bulking up, you know, eating tremendous amounts of fat, piling in tremendous amounts of ketones, and busting it out in the gym. And we've got all kinds of testimonials about people that are getting phenomenal results in the gym. For me, you know, I'm walking around the block really, really well and smiling as I do it. And tomorrow I'm going to go around the block and then I'm going to jump and do 3 jumping jacks when I finish. It's all about progress, I say. But anyway, so that's the key. So end of the month is
Mom,
about
what's the retention rate on customers? Someone asked.
I already answered it.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
She never listens to me because she has to listen to me all day long, so that's okay. What you want to do is always know your numbers, know your business, know your back office. Almost every question that somebody asks is in the back office. This dashboard, this gamification is amazing. Know where people are at. Be about the team, you know, about helping the people in the team advance, because that is what builds a business. It's not about getting a rank. It's about helping other people to get their ranks, which will push you up anyway. It's about keeping excitement and helping people to advance and follow a system. Hey, Cheryl, but I will tell you, I would rather have 100 people that will plug in and follow the process as written, because that will duplicate, than a superstar who I can't duplicate. I was that person when I started a network. I don't know that I was a superstar, but I got results because I made myself the issue. And I could modify, I was a closer. I could sit down with somebody and I could modify the conversation to their objection or to what they needed to hear to make a decision to do what? Buy something. And then I would get upset that they didn't go out and enroll people. But I wasn't enrolling them in a business. I was selling them something. They did exactly what I asked them to do. But they couldn't turn around and sell like I could, so it went nowhere. There was no process. There was me. Well, I don't care how good you are at anything. You cannot outproduce 100 people that are following a system. Henry Ford proved that with an assembly line, and he revolutionized the country. You know, today, we can't outwork computers with all of our talent. They're faster. We get paid, if you have become very, very good at network marketing, you get paid a tremendous amount of money for becoming excellent at relationships, excellent at connecting with people, excellent at helping people to overcome the space, the challenges that exist with the space between their ears. Excellent at helping them to transferring your belief in what you are, in the product you are using, in the business that you are working, in the methodology that is duplicating to others, at plugging them in and helping them to advance or not, at creating an environment where 90% of the people can be helped in a group setting so that you can spend, 90% of your time with the 10% that influence your business. No matter how many people you recruit or how effective your system, in the end, all of your business, 90% of your business will always be a result of 10% of the influence of 10% of your people in everything in life. So the only way to make that work and work for you is to have systems that can be easily and massively duplicated. And if you don't, it doesn't work. And Prove It has a simple process with the best system deployment for replicating and advancing that process quickly that I've seen, because of the gamification, because of the uniqueness of the product, and because the system is sustainable. Every experience pack that is sent out, if it's done properly, paid for and can be replaced regardless of what the person decides to choose to do next. Does that make sense? Okay, so here we are at the end of the month. I go through all of this to say everybody's doing what they need to do, or you know if you're doing what you need to do. If you're working the system and you want better results, the answer is always the same. Go back through every step of the process, improve the process, marry it, your results improve. Go down through your group, find those that are wanting to plug in and do the same thing, help them to do that. Look, always ask the question, always look for raise their hand. And here's the question that I always ask people, sometimes when they're joining the business, always when they come to me for help, or when they want to do well, no matter where they are in depth. And this is what I'll leave you with. And this is really how I got started in network marketing. How many people, today college is not as big a deal as it was back then, and I probably think that's a good thing. So we're going to go with just a theory. Most of you come from a world, whether you went or not, or you wanted to or not, where there was at least a theory in place. Hill, can you mute whoever's not muted? Because we're getting feedback again. The theory in place was that you should go to college and start a career. And a 4-year college career today, even at a state school, is a minimum of like 6 figures. At a 4-year state school, it's going to be $100 grand. And when people go to college, maybe they get part-time jobs, but that's your full-time job. 4 years, $100,000 spent, 40 to 50 hours a week. And if you get out of college today and you get a job for anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 a year, if you can get one, this would be considered to be a good starting point after a 4-year bachelor degree. Would everybody agree that that's a pretty reasonable number and would be a good career start? So $100,000 in, get out $50,000, $55,000 a year. But for that, you're not getting a 40-hour work week. We say that it's 40 hours a week, but it's a lie. Because if you want to advance in whatever this career is, your first couple of years, you are going to be working 55 or 60 or 65 hours to get ahead, to show that you are the go-getter. You're the one to beat. And by the way, you're not going to be doing that in whatever city you want to live in. It's going to be wherever the company that you get this job with decides you should live. And at the end of a year, you're going to get 2 weeks vacation. And 2 years later, just when you've about fallen in love with the city that they put you in and you've established a life, if you want an advancement, they're going to move you to another city and another city. And by then, after 6 years of that, you're doing great now because you're earning about $10,000 more than when you 6 years later in this career, if you're lucky. And that's a full-time job. So $100,000, 4 years of your life to get out to make $55,000 a year, invest 6 more, and maybe you're at 70. Now, some people do better than that, but would you say that that's a realistic outline of what it is? So if I can show you a way, but you have to surrender to the process and build it exactly as described. Just like if you went to medical school or law school or to be an accountant, you have to do it exactly as is designed to do. You surrender the process for 2 years without giving up what you are currently doing, although by the end you may want to. At the end of 2 years, you will be making, $100,000 a year or more mailbox money. That doesn't mean it's passive and you'll never have to touch it again. What it does mean is that every single week that money will come and not be solely dependent on you. And if you build it right, you'll be on your way to being irrelevant to it. Would that be good enough for you to just plug in and build it as it's intended? Follow the process and not try to reinvent the wheel. And anybody who tells me no, I'm like, you know what? Then it's not for you. Because a lot of people will tell you what you want to hear or lie to you to get you to do something, I suppose. But if 4 years and $100 grand to get out and make 55,000 full time to be at 70 after 6 years sounds like a good deal, and 2 years without giving up what you're currently doing with a minimal investment and sweat equity will get you $100,000 a year when you didn't have to give that up. Mailbox money, living wherever you want to live, working on your own schedule, and you're going to work and work hard. But because that's what I did, and that's what I was taught how to do. And that's what we can teach people how to do. And that's what this is. And if people's expectations are set to that, and that's the deal you make, that's the deal you always go back to. So everything about a perfect process comes back to everybody understanding what they're choosing. If I send you a video, will you watch it? Yes or no? You know, will you surrender to the process? Do you understand that this, and this? Will you show up to the calls? Will you go to the events? You don't have to, it's your business. But if you don't, why would you expect that you would be getting results? If you make over $100,000 a year in this country, you are in the top 2.5% of income earners. And I don't care if you went to college or not. You could be a pool cleaner. Maybe you live in Beverly Hills where they're all rich and you're the best pool cleaner to ever hit Beverly Hills, and you work hard. So you make $100,000 a year doing it, but you're in the top 2.5%. Network marketing is no different. It's not a get rich quick scheme. But the difference is you get massive leverage. You get massive leverage. It's not totally dependent on you. You can build it to a relevancy, and it can pay you for a lifetime. But but if you want to be in the top 2.5%, and that's a big work. That's from $100,000 a year to $100,000 a month and beyond. And the hardest nut to crack is the $100,000 a year. And the next one is $500,000 a year, because now you have to learn how to help create $100,000 a year people. And but it's very doable, and it's very systematic, and it's very process. And everybody who's ever done it consistently over time does the same thing. And it's really very simple. And it's just doing the very basic work, automating everything that you can, and understanding that it's all about connecting with people and breaking it down to things that they can understand and do, and not getting off the system, not reinventing the wheel, not getting a brilliant idea that works for you but may never work for anybody else, or may not be able to be explained to anybody else. So if that makes sense, where do we go from here? Well, first thing you do is, go through your group, see where you're at. Always know where you're at and what you need. Then go down at the bottom and work your way up and see what everybody else needs. Always be in touch with your people. You should know where they're at before the end of the month. You should be working with them throughout the end of the month. If you haven't been, you're not their boss. You're their mentor. You do not do the work for them. They perform, you perform, but we're a team. The more that you can do that helps everybody, the more that you can taproot, the deeper you work, even if you are not getting paid on it today, the more successful a business you will build. And that's really it. And always focus on helping those that are working advance. Put your efforts where they deserve, not where they're needed. You don't need a lot of influencers to build a monster business. They are the hardest thing to find, the hardest thing to replace, and the easiest thing to lose if you take advantage of them rather than become a support mechanism for them. And that's what you do. You're here to develop, support, honor, respect influencers and leadership. And look for those that are looking for you. Always look for those that are continuing to choose. It's always who's choosing to keep going to the next level and the next level and the next level. And if they don't want to, that's okay. It's their business. Your job is to always point out to people that if what they want is not matched by what their efforts are doing, they won't get it. Life doesn't work that way. You can have anything you want, but there's always a path, the work that you have to be willing to do. And people that work smart work so that they are building something. Closers make money. Builders build. Builders recruit to retain and advance. So they're building something. closers just make sales, and the next month they have to make more, and then they wonder why the business doesn't mythically do it, work itself. So that's it. Anybody needs any help, you know where to find me. Everybody that's on this call is pretty much, crushing. Any questions? Anything I can help anybody with? Anything with? All right, next 2 days, I'm around. Here's the other thing. Very easy. What I'm learning from all of you guys is 3-way chats. Like when you have new people, introduce them to me with chat on Facebook. We introduce them in the groups and everything, but introduce them to me, introduce them to Europe, introduce them to everybody, as many people as you can on the team, sideline, upline, that can help. Stories of what the product's doing. The customer groups, really get in them. We are, all of us, customers first. Share your stories, share your results, engage with the new people. When they're starting their 10 days, go back and ask them how it's going. Not, if they're your customer, you're talking to them one-on-one, but introduce customers to people, to other customers. Introduce them to people who have similar stories. It's really working. These customer groups are very effective, as are the promoter groups, and everybody working together to answer everybody's questions in advance. And everybody needs to participate them as much as they can, because the more energy that's in the group, the more participation, the more stories, the better it is for everybody. And the faster the business grows. And I really don't have much else. My pleasure. Thank you so much for all the nice compliments. And let's just go rock and roll. Let's close out the month strong. Help as many people, the newer, especially the newest people. Most important thing, anybody who's close to go pro, we don't want them to miss it. Anybody who's close to MVP, we don't want them to miss it. We want to help that. Those are the first and foremost, because they're the newest people. Get people that are new. The first 30 days are so important, starting with the first 72 hours all the way on. Help those people. Get them first the 30 days, help them at those milestones, and then help them help their people do the same thing. Move from the I can do it to I can do it again, but I can help teach someone else how to do it, and the business just explodes. And keep taking the product, because it's amazing. And keep asking the question. I ask everybody all day long, what do you know about ketones and ketosis? Any questions, anything? Well, thanks for tuning in. I know your time is really valuable. I'm not sure I made any more sense than I usually do, but maybe you can get something out of it. Soon you'll be doing it. Next week I'll bring you Curtis, and what I do in an hour, he says it much more eloquently than me, but takes 3. So I won't seem long-winded. I'll seem shorter. He's smarter. I'm short. He's smarter. I take less time. But I'm going to bring, Dawn was listening, and I'm going to get her to do a product thing next week. I don't know if it'll be on a live or if she'll just tape it, but she's got a lot of product knowledge. We're going to be in Vegas in 2 weeks. A lot of people won't be at this event. They'll be at the next one, but we'll be doing lives and getting lots of information, lots of tapes. The event's closed out. There are no more tickets available, but I know a couple of people said, I'm working on it. A couple of people reached out to me, and I've got everybody working on it. And I think we'll be able to scrounge up a few more for those of you that have asked. And then, yes, Heather.
Can we dig into an explanation of what blue ocean marketing is on our next call, and like what the difference is between that and like?
Well, the person who's the person is the specialist on blue ocean marketing. I understand a little bit, but the person who really understands what a blue ocean company is Brian Underwood, because Prove It is a complete blue ocean company.
Yeah.
As far as blue ocean marketing goes, again, tactics change, human nature doesn't. And there is nothing, and if you read Building a Blue Ocean, if you look at like Amazon, Tesla, all the companies that are considered to be blue ocean companies, at their core, when you really examine them, they all come down to relationship. They may be using, people call it attraction marketing, and this one calls it the secret, and this one calls it that. But at the end of the day, and I'll sum it up for you in the way that what it's meant to me. Apple was one of the first blue ocean companies. more than once upon a time, having the, see, when I keep saying Prove It isn't a product company, no, it is a product company, obviously, because I forget I'm in network marketing and people will take that differently. It isn't about the product. It's about the conversation. What I mean by that is once upon a time, there were products that were very unique or hard to get, or somebody that owned a marketplace. For example, when I was your age, or Hillary's age, a Mercedes was an it car. It was an it car. That was the it car. Cadillac was nice, but if you were a yuppie and you drove down a neighborhood, you wanted a Mercedes in your driveway. And Mercedes knew that they were an it car. The amount that could come into the United States were limited. But the car next to Cadillac, it was twice as much money. It came in 6 colors and 6 colors only. It had 2 interiors. The air conditioning did not work all that great because it's not hot in Germany like it is in Texas. And that was it. So they had it and you wanted it, and they were very snooty about it. They, if you wanted they had 2 interiors. If you wanted a different interior, that was it. They made one stereo system. A Cadillac had options upon options upon options that you could order, but this was basically a scaled down, not all that comfortable, twice as much money car to sit in. So if you walked into your Mercedes dealership, they could be as snooty as they wanted because it was the it car and you wanted it and you were going to pay full sticker and you were going to stand in line. Today, a Mercedes has become a commodity because there's not just a Mercedes, there's an Audi, and there's a BMW, and there's a Volvo, and there's a Lexus, and they're every bit as itty as a Mercedes is. So if you walk in a Mercedes and you got your 2 kids and they're really snotty and say, shut your children up, you can look at them and say, you know what, you can take your Mercedes and shove it. I'm going to walk down the street and I'm going to buy a BMW, park that in my driveway, look just as good as I would with your Mercedes, and it doesn't matter anymore. I don't care. Because the product has become a commodity. And the people are going to buy, and it's not about the product anymore, it's about the product experience. It's how do I feel when I hear that company's name. Nobody really believes that Nike makes a better tennis shoe than Reebok, but people like the way Nike makes them feel. Just do it. Nike, people have this feeling that Nike is a very socially responsible company. They take leftover tennis shoes and rubber and tires and they build blacktops. They're out there doing good things. Nobody believes. Let's take Apple. Apple is not a music company, never has claimed to be, but they revolutionized the music industry completely. They're not a phone company. They don't claim to make the best phone. They wouldn't tell you that they make the best phone. For the last 5 years, anybody from a component standpoint will say that Samsung, although they've had their issues, year in and year out, has had the best phone in the marketplace. But Apple revolutionized the phone industry, and here's the kicking thing. They're a blue ocean company. Why? Because Samsung is about phones. They put all this money to research and development, and they come out with 75 models a year. They make phones they sell in Korea that they don't sell in Hong Kong. They make phones they sell in Hong Kong that they don't sell in the United States. They got models upon models upon models. So they make very little money. They spend money on advertising. They do all these things. Apple, after 9 years, is about to release their 8th phone. They never put it on sale. And they have 40% market share. And they have 95% of the profits in the smartphone industry. People stand in line around the block in the rain when the new one comes out because they want the story they got in the rain, even though they could have ordered online and had it delivered to their house the same day. Apple spends very little money on advertising compared to Samsung and everybody else because their best salespeople are the Apple consumers themselves. Because most people that are buying Samsung are buying a phone. People that are buying Apple buy Apple. They believe that Apple builds for them. Apple builds for the consumer. Samsung builds for business. Samsung talks about how their phone is faster, this and this and then. Apple talks about how you can have fun with your videos and you can have, it's a fun experience. All they talk about is the experience. And they own the marketplace. They own all the profits in the marketplace because their relationship with their consumer base is so strong. Who do you know that has switched from a PC to Mac who has ever gone back? And it's a whole generation of people. And today, PCs, Microsoft, their Surface, their graphics are just as good today. Everything that Apple's known for, the phones all do it, but it doesn't matter. That's a blue ocean company because their tactics are different, but they are not where the market is. They are where the market is going. And everybody believes that they're following the trends and they're like Wayne Gretzky, they're skating to where the puck's going to be. But what they're really doing is they're anticipating what makes people feel good and they're deciding where the market's going to go. Nobody was waiting for the smartphone when Steve Jobs came up with it. Nobody knew what it was. He just anticipated that people wanted more convenience. He understood that most people are very threatened by technology and threatened by computers and didn't really understand that as simple as people thought it was getting, that it wasn't as simple as it seemed to be. Prove it right now. It's like everybody's worried about knockoff products. Prove its products are going, like right now, the cream that just came out, it's got an ingredient in it called AC11 that repairs DNA. There's nobody else in the world that's going to have that ingredient in their product. Their next products that are coming out are so far ahead of where other people are just trying to copy where they are here now. They're working on things right now that nobody else has even begun to do yet. That's what basically it is. Heather, are you still there? You're not moving. Oh, sorry, you were like frozen. So conceptually, nothing will replace the relationship, but it's about understanding that he who has the relationship wins, because more and more every day products are becoming commodities. In network marketing, I always tell people, my comp plan is better than your comp plan will fail in the long term. Relationships win. Anybody who gets a great ad on Facebook that is attractive for a while, somebody else will figure out how to do it better. Facebook will change their algorithm. But he who has the relationship, people find them. Gary Vaynerchuk, Blue Ocean Marketing. He did with wine what nobody had ever done before, but his wine wasn't that good. It was him. And the relationship he built with people. Does that make sense to you? So blue ocean companies are about going where nobody's gone before and tapping into what people are feeling. What is going to be important to people, not today, but what's going to be important to people and tapping into it. Blue Ocean Marketing. Have you read the book? Read the book. Read the book, and I'll give you like 4 or 5 others to read. So I don't really understand the specific marketing concepts of it, but I understand the philosophies of it, and they're philosophies that I think most cutting-edge marketers or most cutting-edge builders have always built with. Because, and it's like Elon Musk, when he built Tesla, he didn't have one customer because nobody knew they wanted that car. He believed in it was so, he knew that car people would want. So he built where he believed the market was going. He didn't build for the current need. He built for what he believed the want would be. But read the book. It'll blow your mind. But I will bring somebody on. He's listening right now. He's on a lot of drugs because he had knee surgery, but he understands it much better than I do. And when he's ready, I will have him go to a training on blue ocean strategies. Because the one thing I never talk about is marketing. I'm not a marketing person. Because marketing is like this brochure or that ad copy. I just say what I say, and it seems to work for me. Because I believe that the strongest marketing today is complete and total authenticity. But strategies, I believe that strategic planning and strategic thinking is the secret to success in all things. So with that, anything else, now that we've ended me showing you I know nothing about anything, I hope that helped, but I am going to call you anyway later. Oh, you're late where you are. You hit me tomorrow because I want to talk to you about a couple of things, but you're an hour later than me, and it's already 11 o'clock and you need sleep. So hit me tomorrow, Heather, and we'll chat. Anybody else got anything? Love you all to bunches. Mwah, 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 mwah. And my secret listener, who I just volunteered, and you know who you are for this great training you're going to do in the next 2 weeks when your knee is better. I know you're going to want to. Hey, guys, I'll see you all later. Have a good evening.
You too.
Love and hug'ems.
Yes.